Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Chris Garrison. Welcome to the Transporter Room. Today, we have a very special guest joining us, Duncan K. Fraser. Duncan is an actor and filmmaker known for his role as Ensign Walsh on Star Trek Enterprise, appearing in episodes like Bound. A 2002 Asbury College graduate with a degree in media communications and film studies, he moved to Los Angeles to pursue acting. Fraser also appeared in David Lynch's Inland Empire and worked as an actor and assistant director on the Star Wars fan film Return of Pink 5. With a background in theater and indie films, Duncan brings versatility and energy to every project. Let's beam in Duncan.
Hello. That was a very nice transporter beam. It feels tingly.
Thank you. Thank
Thanks
you.
for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad we were able to make this happen. And
Me too.
I have watched some of your other stuff on one of the other channels you did recently, which was a great interview you've done. And so, I hadn't so when a friend of mine suggested that I reach out to you, I honestly would have had never even thought about like the background actors and all that type of stuff, which I should have because, the original premise and it's still the main premise for my channel was to, talk to the fans like us. I know you're a
Mhm.
fan, obviously. And if you've
Yeah.
watched my channel, everybody else, I've been interviewing, I started off with the fans. Now I'm getting to, I've been blessed and growing. I'm starting to get to bring in, actual actors from the shows
Yeah.
and
The landed JB. That's a good get. John Billingsley,
John
man.
Billingsley.
Oh.
Yeah, that was our first real heavy foray in having to beep, beep out words because
Yes, I love that John uses the most colorful language. He I like to play with words too. But I grew up conservative, so I'm better at holding them back when I need to.
yeah,
So
it was
I'll try and
just
keep credits.
That's fun. It was just so fun. He was a
Yeah,
hoot to
he's great.
talk with, and but and then I had Liz Kozowski on, and so on, and so it's been fun. But yeah, it makes sense because here's one thing: you guys in the background, and although y'all get to sit there and watch what's going on and have the stories that they may not even want to talk about or even realize that has just what happened. Um,
Right?
and
Didn't know the camera was on, etc.
exactly, and that people might have been snapping pictures back then.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
so, but yeah, I was just want to start off, just, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Wow, that's open ended. So you covered it in the very nice intro, by the way. Thank you. Uh, yeah, I grew up mostly in Kentucky, Michigan born, but moved to Kentucky, and then got out of there as fast as I could. Uh, Traveled around a bit, went to different colleges, was business management major, then happened upon a an elective acting class because I joined late to the latest school I was going to, and it was one of the only things. And I'm like, well, I like movies and stuff, and I like sometimes just like doing stunts or whatever and messing around. And I've been in martial arts since I was 14, so
Oh, wow.
I tried it out and totally caught the bug. We had to do a little short vignette. We got paired up and produced like poster art and all this stuff, and then perform it in front of the class,
Okay.
and totally caught that bug. So I'm like, got to change my major now. And it just happened that I was back in Kentucky by then, as fate would have it. And the nearest like college in the tiny town of Wilmore where we lived was Asbury College. And they had a media communication program that had an extension in Hollywood. And I'm like, yeah, thanks. I'll do that. So finished like my final semester with that school was actually the fall of 2001 because I had sort of cobbled together a degree out of things, and moved to LA in January of '02, and then technically graduated in '02, with that class. So I then proceeded to work for about 20 years total in Hollywood in different ways. First 5 years was acting, and I ended up, because of economic reasons and stuff, getting into studio operations and then into corporate entertainment operations. So I was a corporate level team of NBC Universal for a number of years, doing safety training, and I used to do security at Paramount Pictures was my first day job, kind of tied in. And then 3 years ago, moved to Washington State with my family. So starting a new thing, and really got to step back from the whole Hollywood thing, which is what led me to kind of the direction I'm going in now. Yeah, yeah, letter decks. Uh, we
Yeah,
can get
tell
to
us about
that.
that.
So I let me say, I know, like, we were talking about this at the beginning, or you were, about you never would have thought of the background people, right?
Correct.
And that's uh kind of overarching, like, mindset in Hollywood, right? Because your background, like, you're not one of the contracted main characters. You're not there every day. And when you sign up with a background agency, you might be on a different show every day, and might be on camera or not. You might sit in a chair and eat craft service. Um, you know, but when you there's it's a big deal, as you know, I'm sure. What have you done lately, right? So if I was in, a 4 season run Star Trek show that got canceled and was on UPN and did background 10, 15 years ago in Hollywood, nobody cares, right? Um, but when you remove yourself from that uh, uh, industry environment, perspective changes, because to people anywhere else, I was on Star Trek. I'm a character on Star Trek, right? And even though I was tiny, tiny, people still care, and I kind of started to assimilate that
Hmm.
after moving here. And we moved to kind of the Tacoma area, which is real big for. There's a military base nearby, and you get a lot of people retiring from the military after their 20-year run, if they were career military, and, like, staying here because it's a nice area and the housing prices are pretty decent, and just you get a lot of that. So there's, like, a whole culture of retired military here, including my brother, who he and his family live up here, and that's one of the reasons we live here now. And after we did his retirement, and I bought him a hat, because I like to tease him. I bought him one of those retiree hats with, like, all of his medals on it and stuff, for him to wear around. Air Force retired, and and then I was like, well, I know he's not going to wear this by himself because he's super straight laced. So I need to get something so that I'm also goofy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if I could find a hat like those Navy guys wear, where they have the name of the ship and the silhouette of the ship and all that. But if I could find one for my ship, Enterprise NX-01, and like, now I'm a retired Starfleet guy
Right.
who like to talk about being on the ship, right?
Hmm.
So I found one, Etsy. There's an Etsy person that makes them, and so like, my background picture on my personal Facebook account is him and me together with our little hats, right? But that got me thinking, like, I like to tell stories about being on the show because it was the greatest time of my life, the greatest career time of my life. So many amazing things happened, so many fun stories. But even when you're out of Hollywood and people in general are interested that you were on Star Trek, not everybody's into Star Trek. Not everybody wants to hear it, and you sure can't, like, walk up to someone you've never met before and be like, "Hey, my name's Duncan, and I was on Star Trek. Want to hear about it?" That's a little awkward,
Yeah, that would be a little awkward.
right? So, and it's like straight laced military dude who never watches movies is like, "What? Okay, weirdo." So fortunately, I didn't do that, but it did give me the idea. What if I got together some of my guys, ladies and men who were on the show and doing the similar thing to me, who could also, get a hat or something,
Whoops.
pretend they were on, or pretend they're like, there's me and
Oh shoot.
Glenn Hambley. Uh,
Yeah, sorry. I was sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
oh,
That
that's
was
okay.
I didn't know it was gonna drop it up so quickly.
I didn't even see the glitch. But yeah, 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 exactly. That's me and Glenn Hambley kind of doing our Virgin run of letter decks at the Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle. He lives at this end of Canada, and I live in proximity to Seattle. So I messaged him, and he was game. And what we do is we basically sort of cosplay our own characters, light cosplay, because we're not trying to act like our characters, really. But we went around the con. and found people who were cosplaying in Star Trek stuff and were like, "Hey, great cosplay!" Da da da. We'd give them some compliments and stuff because, like, I like great cosplay. I like to dress up. I'm into Renaissance fairs where I dress up, and I like that anyway. And I'm a fan of Star Trek anyway, like since I was little. So once we get to that, then it's like, "Hey, do you like Enterprise?" Which is kind of a crapshoot, honestly, because to be perfectly honest, there are fewer fans of Enterprise than the other shows. Reasons. But when someone either is or knows someone, right? It's like, "Oh, I'm not, but my dad is, or my brother is, or something." I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome. We were on the show." And there's always like a switch, right? Like people are like, "What?" And then we're like, "Yeah, we were on the show. I would played Ensign Walsh, and Glenn here was like every alien in the book, and like on every universe, and was on the end of Voyager and everything." And so we chat them up, and then we invite them to have a meet up dinner with us at some place that's walking distance from the con after the con ends. So we're not trying to like usurp anything that's happening, and just hear us talk about being on the ship, like a couple of retired Navy guys talking about being on the ship, like
That's
casual.
a cool concept, though.
Thank you.
It
Thank you.
really is.
And I appreciate that. And I'm stoked because I tend to like to have nerdy friends because I'm into nerdy stuff, right? And and a lot of my friends who I was friends with back when I was on the show were super into that I was on the show, and we talked about it, and like it was a lot of fun. So it's kind of feels like, now that I'm in a new place, like meeting new friends who also are into that kind of thing, and it's fun. I got to tell you though, I'm the most proud of the name because I'm sure everyone watching this knows about Lower Decks. Amazing show, love that show, so great. I wish they would do another 10 seasons. I mean, it's freaking awesome. And yeah, ended recently, and I was thinking, we're kind of like the Lower Decks guys from that Enterprise NX-01. How do I reference that and also like give people the idea that that's what we are, and but be different and not copyright violating stuff, right? So I started researching our ship and trying to find something that was unique. And what I found was that the decks on NX-01 Enterprise have letters A through G, whereas every other Enterprise has numbered decks. So letter decks, the crew of the NX-01.
The fact that you realized that and figured it out is just ingenious, but that makes it so good because now you're right. Your channel will be set apart because it's letters. I mean, it's just oh yeah, that'll be good.
Fun,
And I
right?
like in your analogy of being y'all are lower decks, but you're right because man, can you imagine just bringing in as you progress and everything, start bringing in, you know, all the others people that were on the show, and then even eventually, you could bring in people like Connor and Dom and all of that. Um,
Maybe like surprise
yeah,
guests, like you don't know
yeah,
that someone like really big is going to show
hmm
up. And what and I gotta give some appreciation to my wife, by the way. The way that I found that information in particular was because of a Christmas present she gave me, which is this Haynes guide to the USS Enterprise. Covers every Enterprise from NX-01 up to
Oh
E,
wow,
and it's kind of like they have for cars, only cutaway for everything, and it has all the technical stuff, which I'm super duper into. P.S. If I can put money in the wallets of Michael and Denise Okuda anytime, I'm game for that because they're freaking cool
hmm
people and good stuff.
yeah, they
Like
are.
very ingenious. So yeah, that helped me get to that realization, and I've already had calls with 3 other people. So the next con that we're going to is most likely the Washington Summer Con, which is in Puyallup. I think I'm saying that right. Washington. It's east of Tacoma. They have a whole. You should look it up. Washington Summer Con. They're on Insta and all that, and they have like a really solid lineup of Star Trek people on top of a whole bunch of other names. I was surprised because they don't even call they call it the location they're having is the Puyallup Fairgrounds, I think, or there's a sponsor name anyway. um so I got another guy. Glenn Hambley's gonna go, we went to Emerald City, and then John Jurgens, who was on all four seasons, just like Glenn was, is also going to join us. So there'll be three of us. And I've got Cricket Yee, who we talked about kind of before we started recording, who was the stand-in for Linda Park. She's a fantastic person, doing real estate now, and she was into it. So at some point we'll get her. She can't do Washington, but I mean we could be at any con,
Oh, wow.
and Angeles,
I
that'd be great.
I just pulled it up, and I'll try and
Yeah.
put it in. I'll more likely I'll just take a do like I've done in the past and just scroll through this. But that's I'm looking here. I mean, you got Shatner's going to be there, Jerry Ryan,
Oh yeah, they just added him. That's right. Yep.
yeah, Shatner,
Telling you.
Jerry, Heather Locklear, Martin Cove. Um,
So like the chances of there being some serious Trek fans there, very
oh,
high,
Walter's going to
very
be
high.
there. Walter Caney.
Oh, he is. I didn't
If
see
I'm looking
that.
at the right
Dang,
ones,
man.
the Washington State Summer Con.
Who they got freaking doing marketing for them? Because they're
Hold
killing
on.
it.
You know what? I'm just going to share this real quick just so we remember it.
Yeah, you.
Uh,
And I don't make any money. I was gonna call them later and see if we could get free passes, but maybe maybe this will help.
I mean, if that's it,
Yep, that's the one.
yeah. So you've got Shatner, Jerry Ryan. Let's
Hmm.
see here. I saw Walter Koenig, Bob
There he
Picardo's
is.
going to
Yep.
be there. Pauly
Like they
Shore.
got a bunch of Daredevil stuff
Oh
too.
yeah,
Man, they
X
got
Men.
wow,
Let's see here.
wow. That's more than I saw. Like I've been watching their feed just looking for Star Trek people, but dang, dude. Yeah. So this is a serious con. And nobody knows where Puyallup is who doesn't live here. So I'll just tell you it's about 40 miles south southeast of Seattle and maybe 10 miles east of Tacoma. So it's like right there in the like Puget Sound, Pierce County area. Yeah, fly into Seattle, like easy drive down there. So yeah. Hope people show up. So we're doing that next, and who knows what else. We'll see.
Um, have y'all been to Trek Long Island or thought about doing going there?
Oh gosh, well, I saw it and I'm following it now. I being Letterdex because I you know administer that, but we literally just started this thing in March of this year. So we went to Emerald City, and that call to Glenn was just like I'd already been like sort of talking, like chatting with him about it, and I saw that it was coming up, and I was like, man, you know what? There's nothing stopping us from just going there and talking to people. And so I called up Glenn, and I was like, dude, you want to like do something crazy with me? Let's go to the con in Seattle. And he's like, I'm in. It's a 5 hour drive, but I'm in.
Yeah.
you know. I'm like, that's awesome, man. So, and we only went one day, but we talked to, and it turns out we were there on the wrong day because we, of course, were looking for people in the Enterprise NX-01 flight suits, right? Turns out all those fans were there the day before. So we missed them by a day. But we did find a number of other Star Trek fans, of
Yeah.
course, because we're everywhere. And
Yes, we are.
everywhere. We we might not be dressed like Trek right then, but we're everywhere. And we probably socialized with about 15 to 20 people over a span of only like maybe 4 or 5 hours, just literally just randomly wandering around to like all these different buildings of the convention hall. And at the end of the day, two people met us at the restaurant. And I feel like those are pretty good percentage points for being unannounced, being there on one day, not being there the day the Star Trek stuff was apparently big, all that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I don't know how big it could be, but like, we're going to test it. We're going to test it at the next one.
Well,
So we'll
that's
see.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, maybe, as obviously, as you grow, I mean, yeah, I'm actually looking to do a booth or table at the Creation Trek event in Chicago in November. Um,
Oh, nice.
yeah,
Okay.
just I
Okay.
it's still a work in progress, and
Yep. Yeah. And by the way, I should add about Letterdex kind of vision wise. I have a lot of ideas, but one of the visions that I have is getting people involved who are all over the country and the world that have been on the show, and then they can go to whatever conventions are convenient to them, right? And we might end up having some signature look. I don't know. kind of thing. I showed John Jurgens the hat that I bought, and he went out and bought one right away. And Glenn is cooler than that. He looks better in the black like NX01 deal. But having people that can go to all the different cons eventually, that would be like my big goal. And that's just like I feel like encouraged and connected to something as a part of letter decks, that I wouldn't otherwise, because I'm now removed from Hollywood that I called home for 20 years. Um, and getting into this podcast world and everything has really opened up like what's going on for me, and it's encouraging, and I'd love to be able to like extend that encouragement to others that I worked with, and maybe eventually, yeah, we pull in people who did background on other shows too, Letter Decks banner, or maybe make another group that's named something else, or yeah, whatever. Just like it's fun. And the worst case scenario is you show up, you hang out with a person or people that you worked with on a show, and talk to people that love Star Trek, and then go have dinner together, and no one shows up, but you still get to talk about having done stuff on the show together.
Exactly.
Like there's no losing scenario.
Exactly. And
For
then when you're doing your podcast like this, that's I mean, you get this is I've only been doing this for 5 months. First episode came out January 1st.
nice,
And
nice,
it
yeah. Congrats on that, by the way. Launching something like this is a big
yeah,
deal.
thank you.
You're
It's been a
welcome.
it's been a bit of work, I'm not gonna lie. And I always
No
and
doubt.
I guess I should do the same thing that the group that I was talking with about when I was gonna launch, they always said, "Are you sure?" They're like, "Are you sure you wanna jump into this world?" I'm like, "Yeah, no problem. It'll be fine."
Right,
It
right. That first of all, it sounds like you have excellent friends around you that are looking out for you.
Oh,
I just
yes,
wanted
they
to
were, and they
be
are, and it's
that's
just
advice that people who care
and
about
it
you
was just
give.
funny. Some of it was I mean, I know some of it was just being they were joking, but also some was, like, dead serious, like, "Are you sure you wanna do this?" Because it is a to do it right, it's almost a full-time job,
Right,
and
right, and you got your
I
hands
have a
full. I mean,
full-time
you've got
job already,
yeah,
so
right,
but
right.
it's just so fun,
Um,
but it's
awesome.
fun, even though, the editing and all that stuff can get a little tiresome, but the fact that I've gotten to meet so many different people so far and talking here and learn their what got them into Star Trek, and and it's really a lot of times there's some of the great stories as to like it was they were watching TOS with like their grandmother or their mother or their father or or TNG, and so we get a lot of personal stories, and that's why I'm doing this for one. And then now I can sprinkle in an actor here and there or someone in like set production, art production. um but yeah, I mean, so that's I'm glad about letter decks, and I'm really looking forward to see how that goes. And then so I know what I mean, when I was getting ready for this and you and I talking and then me talking with Larry actually on Monday,
Mhm.
I was
Oh, yeah.
on a
Cool.
he does his Trek files on the mission log Discord server like every other Monday. He hops on
Oh,
and just FY, and if you ever want, you can get on the Mission Log Patreon for I think like $1 a month. It's super cheap, and you can get onto different things. I mean, there's a little bit higher, but you get into Discord and like Larry comes on every other Monday, and a group of us all get together and we talk about usually about his most recent Trek file that has been published. The podcast, they're like 20-minute podcasts. I've not listened to all of them, the most recent, but I've listened to what I can. But we all just sit there and on Discord and just talk and like I oh my god, the week Monday we went down a rabbit hole in a way, but a good one. Because I asked we were the Delta Flyers had just released their Sunday episode, and I asked him a question about that because I said, Garrett and then made a comment about when it's the episode, and not gonna even try and the name. It's when Jadzia, everybody gets to, her host, she gets to meet all of her, the hosts that she's gotten, What is that episode
Oh,
called? I'm looking it up right now.
yeah.
It is come on, Facets. Facets.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And I made a and Garrett and Robbie and all them made a comment about there was why didn't they have the host that stole the symbiont from her? And so I made a comment about that to Larry, and it was so cool. He actually got a phone call from the production saying, "Hey, we need the basically the Dax symbiont lineage."
Oh, like when they were writing the episode?
Well, for that episode, they needed to know, like what did this host do? What did and he had and I can't show it, but he had a document that he wrote and typed up that said this year, if it was this. Oh my god, it was so cool. But those are the little things like we can do. But no, I shouldn't. I got on a tangent here, but
That's okay. It's easy to do when you're talking
I
about Star
know
Trek, man.
because that's what I wanted
There's
to know. So if I remember correctly, you when did you start as so you moved to LA and you didn't do the typical go work at the restaurants and all that stuff, which listening to your other interview, man, that I would have never thought about that, but what you did, and I'll let you tell your story. That's pretty damn smart.
Thank you. Uh, I can't take full credit for the opportunity. Uh, it's all about who you know, right? And fortune, fate, the universe, God. I'm blessed because that film studies extension that I went to from my college introduced me to a panoply of alums of that program because that program had been on for I think 15 or 20 years up to that point. And one of the people, because they knew I needed a job, was already a security officer at Paramount Pictures. And I'm like, security, I could definitely do that because like my work had spanned a few different things. I had done a pretty good amount of retail. I had done for a minute. I sold rainbow vacuum cleaners. So I know new sales wasn't for me, and retail is about as close as I can get to a like interaction situation. But like I knew so many people that had done food service that, and I had done things like volunteering to cook ribeye steak sandwiches at a Dare event, for instance. Like growing, I've painted like fence gate, like all kinds of stuff, right? So security appealed to me. I have a martial arts background. I'm already good with like handling people, and I knew that if I would try to be a waiter, I would probably punch someone in the face within a week at most. At most. So like, this is a lot of win. Security is perfect for me. So I joined up, and the cool thing about the security department at Paramount at that time, because I'm not sure now, but I think probably still the same. They're in house. A lot of the studios hire third party entities to do their security, but Paramount Security was Paramount Security. Like we were employees of Paramount Viacom, right at the time, and we were unionized, so the pay was outstanding for the time, especially for a 20 something dude who's just coming to town. And it also gave me an opportunity to be all kinds of places in the studio because you have to choose, like, do you want to be a guy who's sitting at a gate every day or doing a patrol on a bike every day checking buildings, or do you want to be a guy that doesn't have a guaranteed work schedule, but you get calls maybe in the middle of the night, maybe at a convenient time, maybe not, about doing things like, hey, do you want to do a set watch for 12 hours on this sitcom? Or, hey, can you do audience security for, Dr. Phil for a while? Or, we have a commercial shooting outside at the fountain in front of the main, the old main gate. And someone to watch over that star. Are you available in 2 hours? Right. So I got to do so many things. And the awesome part was that once I got connected, once I'd been there long enough for the security higher ups to know they could trust me, And for me to like, there's a shakedown time where you kind of get the stars out of your eyes, okay? Because like you know, sometimes I would be assigned to a gate just because someone's on vacation or whatever, and that's where I encountered some of my first Star Trek actors, by the way, because that was right after 9/11, January 2002. So the studios were all doing mandatory mirror checks around all the cars. You know, everybody had to show their ID, and for people who were big stars already, like the cast of Next Generation, coming into the studio lot, having to sit in a car and wait in line in hot weather, no one was happy. No one was happy. I mean, that's a bad scenario for anybody, but like when you are
Yeah.
known at the studio and someone asks for your ID at the gate, who you've probably seen like 100 times in the past 5 years, yeah, it's annoying. So, but it was a weird situation, but I got work out of it and I got to be everywhere basically. And once I got on Star Trek, um, as an extra. By the way, that happened because another security guard who was acting, who actually had a day player part on another episode, I think in season one, David Hayes, introduced me to Brandon Braga, who really went through the main gate on his shift at night, and that got me eventually connected to the background thing. So after they vetted me,
Yeah.
then which took a while,
Yeah.
um,
I'm curious about
um,
that, honestly.
yeah. So like I feel like they might have had an easier time with me just because I had been security at the studio for over a year by then, and so on that level, I had proven trustworthy of all things, you know, NDA or
Yeah.
otherwise at the studio,
So
and
so that
you know, I'm
was
sure they
a
did
second?
background
So
check.
you had to do 2 background checks is what you're saying. You had to do 1 your
Pretty
original
much.
one to get work, and then
Hmm.
when you were doing Enterprise, they made you do a second one? Sort of?
I don't remember actively participating in one. I'm just thinking like they must have.
Okay.
They must because the biggest let me put my security hat on for a second. The biggest problem you have when you're shooting a show like Star Trek on the lot is that it's Star Trek. Everybody knows about Star Trek. Everybody wants to go see what's happening on the Star Trek stages. And at that time, we were doing studio tours that were just on little like 8-person or 6-person golf carts. Like you could bail out of one of those even when it was going at its top speed and not get hurt. Like you could, and you would, they would even sometimes stop and let people get out and go into a stage where they weren't shooting, you know, maybe if the production was okay with it. So the biggest issue was, how do you make sure people who you are giving intimate access
Mhm.
to the set to, how do you make sure they're not going to take stuff
Yeah.
or make the actors uncomfortable or friggin', you know, take set pieces, anything, right? And that's why I say I think they must have liked the idea of already Paramount security officer being a background on their show, because basically I'd be looking for people doing that
Yeah.
stuff instinctively. And it also gave that there were two guys who were always every day during the production, the security for the stages.
Okay.
Two guys. Um, it was at that time Steve D'Erico and LZ Ward. I know D'Erico has been on Portal 47, so you might look that up since you're on
Okay.
there now. Um, and great guy. He's got lots of stories, way more than me. Um, he was a guard. He was a guard at that studio for, I don't know, 30 years, something
Wow.
like that. Yeah, man. Career. So and he's very nice. He brought me a jelly donut once. I'll never forget that. When I was having a bad day. And but once I was fully vetted on the show, then I could actually stand in for those guys to guard if they had to take a vacation or do whatever, because the security office wouldn't send just any schmuck to go work 12 hours on Star Trek for the day.
No.
Like the production wouldn't be okay with that,
No.
you know? So so that was also an opportunity. So there were weeks where I was like, on Monday, I'm guarding the stage door in the alley behind stage 8. On Tuesday, I'm in uniform and I'm on the bridge and getting hit with smoke and sparks, you know, from the Klingons shooting us. Uh, and the next day I'm back at the door. I don't, you know, it was like that. It was pretty
That's
fun.
cool.
It was yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god. I just I can't even, like, begin to fathom what it was like. for one to be able to be there with all of them, even in both capacities. And I have some pictures that you sent, and I'm gonna be bringing those up here in a second because because honestly, I wanna kinda, talk about what was going on. I mean, I see some of the names, but I mean, like, I'm just gonna do this first one real quick. Let me bring it up
All right,
here.
cool. Cool, cool. Let's
Ah,
do
and this time I mean to bring it up.
it. Ah, Scott.
I I I'm going to just say this before then. Well, if you ever get a chance to go watch my John Billingsley episode, and I asked him what was it like working with Scott.
I loved that part.
The
I
okay,
watched
oh
I
my
watched it.
god. I don't know if
Of course I
you
watched
saw my face at first. I was like,
it. And he deadpanned worst human being ever. Like, as only he can, right?
yes, freaked me
Fantastic delivery.
out.
Yes, he's a professional actor.
Yes.
But yeah, he to his point, like Scott is such an amazing person to everyone that I'm sure all the times that anybody who's been on the show that gets asked about working with Scott Bakula talks about him, like, of course, there's nice things to say. So switching it up like that, I feel like was probably a little cathartic for
Yeah.
JB. That's yeah, that was fun.
It was so funny, and I was so like, "Oh, I screwed the
Yeah.
pooch." Yeah, I can't
Oh no, but
imagine getting to meet him like that. That's just oh, man.
oh dude, well, I mean, like this photo is from the last shooting day of the show. This was after, so I had been working on the show for all of seasons 3 and 4, and my first episode was the final season or final episode of season 2, and uh, this was after we had shot the scene that is the gallery where people are watching the signing of the papers that lead to the United
Yes.
Federation of Planets. That Captain Archer was, or then I think he was an admiral at that point, was officiating or whatever. Um, and that day was like a graduation and a Halloween party and a block party all in one, because we shot that scene in stage 8, where they had a couple of swing sets, as you say, and they just built the gallery, right, and had the platform up there for Riker and Troy to be on as they're doing their scene in that. But after all that, uh, everybody took their costumes off and put on their street clothes and just hung out in the street
Nice.
between stage 8 and 9 and 18, that make a little triangle right
Mhm.
there. And they brought in food of all kinds. Like, it was literally a block party, and just like everybody mingling, everybody taking pictures with each other, everybody giving gifts to each other. Um just yeah, yeah, it was awesome. And so that picture was like during that, I'm like, Scott, we got to take a picture together. So I mean, I've had the man's armpit sweat on my hand from where I had to grab him. So like we knew each other, by then.
Oh,
um
that's so
asked
funny.
him for advice on relationships once, and he gave me some very wise advice, which unfortunately, well, really fortunately, because I'm very happily married, but I totally disregarded his advice. But yeah, fantastic guy.
Don't
Fantastic.
ignore what, Scott Bakula says. That's the
Yes.
moral of the
Yes.
story.
Yes.
Um,
I will say that the result he predicted was correct, but the timing in my life made that not a problem.
so I'm gonna throw this other picture up here because I don't recognize this other person, obviously, because I don't know all the behind the scenes people.
Really?
And this one
Ah,
right
yes.
here,
Some behind the scenes gems. Oh,
I don't,
really? Oh, this is fun that you don't know who that
or at
is.
least I can't
This is fun.
tell.
That, my good friend, is the esteemed demigoddess of Star Trek, Majel Barrett Roddenberry.
As I was like, I'm sitting there looking and like,
Yeah.
oh wow,
So that was the thing too about that day. Again, this is from the last day of shooting, because what happened was, not only was it the last day for the show, it was the last day of shooting for a Star Trek show for the last 25 years. There was no more Star Trek planned. The Berman era was ending, and not even the J.J. Abrams film was anything yet.
no,
No, they didn't have plans for that at all. It didn't even come out until
oh nine,
4 years later.
yeah,
Um, and was a completely different thing. So basically, nobody knew if this was literally the last time any Star Trek would be shot. Yeah. So, and they had just finished Insurrection also. So uh, that literally no other Star Trek was planned. So everybody showed up. The people in that gallery watching the founding was everyone from showrunner Manny Koto to us extras to the writers. Like everybody was there, and people came who had just been on the show. She was one. Rod Roddenberry showed up, her son, their son, and so you just got to meet. Sorry, mobile station.
It's right.
We're being attacked, Captain.
Praise shields.
Yeah, my job in that would be like, yes, sir.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So that's another example. Like I've got so many pictures from that day with so many of the people, and I sent you a few of the highlights that might be good for our particular interview. But it was, and she passed away sadly only like a couple of years after that, I think. And so again, just I mean, to get a picture with her at all, like she was one of the like main progenitors, the original number one, the one who Rebecca Romijn's character is based on Strange New World. Just yeah, a legend, total legend, and Deanna Troy's mom, which is a whole different ball. You would never look at the role she played in the '60s on the pilot and look at that character and go, yeah, pretty sure that's the same person, right? You just be like, those are different people. I don't. Those are different people, and that's how good she
Oh
was.
yeah, she's
So
phenomenal.
yeah.
I always liked her
Yeah.
on that. And let's see here. Let's look up. This was a this was a good episode, but also kind of I felt bad for him.
Ah, Regine.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so I kind of highlighted it in the pictures, and because it was one of the first episodes that I got to do where my face was really in the camera, like super hard. And I'm also like I have a story about how that happened in this scene. Um, and it was a lot of times when you are background, this is how it works. They tell you when to show up. They don't tell you when you are going to be done. You know the rate you're getting paid, but you show up and then they're like, okay, background holding is over there, and it's basically like a space against the wall, and you set up your camp chair, right? Uh, but they don't give you sides, like sections of the script. You don't see a script when they call you to the set. You come to the set, and then they say, you stand here, you stand here. Here's what you're doing, and react this way, and then they adjust you, right? But you might not be given the full idea of what's happening in the scene, right? So sometimes you have to sort of go with it. And on this occasion, we were rehearsing the scene, and if you recall, Regine, pretends to be the damsel in distress, and then turns out to be a major badass. Like shooting and kicking people in the face and zapping them with Joe and whatever. Spy, right? Trying to get information, and then the idea was to beam off the ship using their own transporter to ship, right? That was coming to pick her up. But Archer gets to her before that. He's like, leaving so soon. Great line. And then two other guys run up, and that's me and the other guy who I should remember his name, and I'm very sorry that I don't. I should have looked that up ahead of time. Um, but we run in and put face pistols on her, focus racks, and then they have an exchange, and then Archer says, "Take her to the brig," right? But he's looking at her when he says it because the camera's right here, and like camera, I'm the girl and Scott's
Mhm.
here looking this way. Camera's pointing at
Yeah.
us over there. And he says, take her to the brig. But no one had told us about that
Oh.
line or that either of us should do anything about that line or anything at all. We didn't know anything about the scene until we walked in to the hallway set to the transporter room
Oh
set.
my god.
So we both kind of, and it's rehearsal, thank God. So we're both like standing there, and Scott's there, and they're doing the thing. Where we both have the face pistols out, and I kind of turned a little bit to him, and he looked at me, and we both kind of like gave each other like the eye of like I don't know. And so I'm like, screw it. So I walk up and I grab her arm. And when I do walk up, I'm like, I see the lens. You got to find your lens when you're an actor. I see the lens, put my face in the lens. I lifted the face pistol just enough for it to be visible because a real like safe way would be down here, right? Gut shot. But this is the camera. So I picked that up a little bit, grabbed her, and took her off screen. And she went with it too, right? She just kind of so the rehearsal was like one and done, right? And they're like, all right, here we go. Back to one. And I turned to Michael Demerit was the first AD that day. And I turned to him, I'm like, was that okay? Like, did anybody say anything? Or I think it was Dave Trotty actually. It was Dave Trotty because he took pictures of me on that day. And he's like, well, I don't know if he said anything. So yeah, do it again. So that's how that blocking happened. I just kind of improved it. And I asked her after the rehearsal stopped. I'm like, hey, was that an okay like force of grab and like all that stuff? Was that good? And she was good. So yeah, it was
Nice.
fun. And then I got to go back later. I'm like, my face is in the camera.
You're like, yes, I did it.
So
Oh, that's
awesome.
so
And
cool.
Dave tried to snap that shot you
Mhm.
showed. It was like total behind the
Did you,
scenes. Yeah.
so I'm gonna do some more pictures here in a minute, but I do have a question about as an extra
Hmm.
or a background or anything like that. Um, how cautious do y'all have to be to when you're on set with to not to overshadow, you know,
Mm,
the top of the line people, the main actors and stuff.
right. Right. You do have to have that in mind.
Yeah.
In general, though, you have to do something pretty extreme to do that, as long as the director and first AD are doing their work for the blocking, right? Because really, they're the ones that are supposed to make sure that the actors they get the shots they
Yeah.
need. Okay, so you'd have to be a total dingus to try to just like steal camera time from main actors. That's how you don't get called back, right?
Yeah.
And I had already been working. I'll tell you a little trivia too. I had been doing background work for a while on other stuff. Like that's just something you also do because you can get on sets and do all kinds of things. I have like a shot where you can see me very clearly on an episode of West Wing. I worked on Jag a lot because I was willing to get my cut like this, and at the time I was skinny enough to look like a sailor, a marine, whatever. And I actually earned my SAG vouchers on Jag doing background work because they would call me in and give me those when a SAG person couldn't show up. I won't take the time to explain the
Yeah.
system, but
Yeah.
people. But I walked into Enterprise already SAG
Mhm.
eligible because the regular background all had to be SAG. So in any way, I had a lot of experience not overshadowing people, right, on the set. But the tense part for me in particular, I've been giving this a lot of thought lately because I've been thinking more about those times, was not only in my background, which is relatively expendable. I mean, they tailored the outfit to each person, right? It wasn't like a slow process, but you can still be dismissed. And I was a security guard, so I was also representing Paramount Security
Mhm.
and by extension the studio.
Yeah.
Even when I was working for Star Trek, or maybe especially when I was working for Star Trek, right? And when you're a guard, it's, I would say, more tense even than background because people forget background sometimes, like especially if there's a bunch of them. If you make an actor trip and you're, oh, sorry, and then you don't like interface with them again, they probably will forget.
Yeah.
But if you've got a Paramount Security uniform and you sweat someone important that you don't know is important over a protocol that you didn't know you were supposed to not press with this particular
Oh.
individual, that could have consequences, right?
Oh,
So
man.
even more, I'm in a like my first day I was in the back of the bridge, okay, on the Expanse.
Yeah.
Um, First 12 minutes you can see a lot of me. Uh, the whole main cast is on the bridge, right? And but mind you, I had been security for a year, so I already knew how that worked. So what I knew was like I don't get in their space, and also I don't know what each of these actors' processes are in their craft. So I couldn't take the chance of just going up and talking to them when the cameras weren't rolling, because I didn't want to be the one that interrupted their flow or whatever, right? Um, Again, a good way of getting not called back. Uh, and I could be losing 2 jobs at once, depending on what I right? But, at the same time, I didn't have stars in my eyes either. So, I was very comfortable talking to them and being close in proximity and stuff, and that led to a thing, but you do have to be mindful. I remember Michael Demerit, first AD, like helping me remember that one time. We were doing, hatchery. Um, I had a lot to do in that one, and we were on the alien egg set.
Mhm.
It's the one where like
Oh,
the
yeah.
insectoid ship crashes the eggs and whatever. And um, I asked, hey, should I do thus and such? Like, should I look a little bit more like actiony? Should I run up or whatever? And he's like, don't forget, you're in the background. And I'm like, good reminder. And he just kind of like smiled at me and then went back to him like, okay, yep, I'm here to make them look good and make the scene look alive, you know, and that so you have to think about it. But like, if you know what you're doing,
Yeah.
it's not like it's
Well, yeah.
tense.
I mean, I didn't even think about
But yeah,
that because oh man, you could have been out of a job just like that.
super
One
fast.
wrong move or just, or yeah, no, that's a, you're right. That again, if you're just a regular just a regular background or an adder, okay, they just get ready, but you're there every day and they have to look at you when they come into that gate or that stage door. Like, oh, that's the, so and so that, kicked me out of a party, an after party or something, or could be,
Yeah,
or
could
could
be.
have been,
Could be. None of them were those people.
True.
Fortunately,
Well, yeah.
there were those people, but you're right. And two, it would be real easy if I did something that, like, say I interrupted an actor's flow and that made the scene take an extra 3 takes, which cost the production, I don't know,
Tens of
20
Yeah,
grand,
tens of thousands of
depending on
dollars.
what they're doing,
Yeah.
right? Um, so they decide, you know what, this guy doesn't seem like he really can work on this set, so we're not going to use him anymore. But that kind of pisses off the people who have to then find a different person because they have a certain number that are ready to go. And it kind of trickles up. And pretty soon there's an executive producer calling the head of security saying, how come your guy made a problem on my set? Right.
Yeah. That's not the call you
And to
want.
them, it's just like they're mad that day and but like that has real consequences
Yeah.
for
Wow, I
the
hadn't even
person who
thought of, yeah,
made
no,
the mess.
that's a slippery slope. What is a slippery slope to be on? I mean, you're obviously had been around and done it long enough. You knew what to not do, but still, I mean, I yeah, that's smart. But it also, from what I learned on some other stuff, it did eh, for the Enterprise cast was everything I've read and even talked with Connor and Dom and other people was they were a huge family, and Scott was the leader, and he was like he kept them just all together, and like I have not met Anthony. I really am just dying. I cannot
Oh,
wait till the day I get to
Anthony's
meet
cool.
him.
Yeah, he's super cool.
Yeah.
He's super cool. Um, yeah, yeah, they were, and um, I've read a lot of that stuff too, and I've seen the pictures from the Halloween party that where the Cap went Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I'm like, oh, they were like that. That's cool because like I never got to participate in that because when your background, even if you have a long day as a background, you're not on the set doing things all the time, but you are sitting on a stage where you are not chatting up your fellow actor outside or having tea in their trailer or being near the camera and chatting to the director. No, you sit and you're quiet, right?
Yeah.
So you don't get to build the same like familiarity and camaraderie. And going back to that first day, the I love that this happened, but now again, like in the wisdom of hindsight, I think that this occurrence made them not want to joke around with me, and combining that with my not wanting to mess with their process for the reasons we outlined. I think they must have like been like, I'm not sure about that guy, because here's what happened. I was outed as a security guard pretty fast. Uh, and but it was
Yeah.
great. So I'm in the back of the bridge with Scott Hill, another great background actor, really nice guy, very generous, welcoming the new guy. And there was a point at which the director was giving notes, right? And the shot was the view screen was flown out, and all the cameras and stuff were through the view screen looking into the bridge. Okay, so director starts talking to everyone in there, and we were way in the back, and he's outside the view screen, and he didn't have a bullhorn or anything. So like, I wanted to make sure I heard, so I didn't, screw up, or I could do my acting or whatever. So I just walked up to the furthest part, still in that back area, not going up the stairs or anything, but just like put my arms on the railing, like at the front of that. Scott Hill, who had been there for a long time, didn't move. He was back behind me, like at the table, right? And this is actually a difference I found in a lot of scenarios doing background work on different shows, where people had different philosophies of doing background. Some people did background because it was easy extra money. Some people did it because they wanted to be on sets because that was cool. Some people did it because they wanted to really be actors, right? Meet people. And I was one of those. And I don't know what Scott Hill was doing at that time, but his philosophy was hang back, right? But I just went up and put my arms on it like I'd been there for years, like I belonged in the place, right? And I still remember that, like director was talking, but Jolene was at my left, and I remember her like going like that because she caught me in her peripheral, and and I just looked at her and smiled, and direction got done, and Anthony turned around and saw me and was like, "I know you from someplace," and and then that was kind of echoed by a couple of other people. They're like, "Yeah, you look really familiar. Like, what have you been in?" And they're thinking of me as an actor, right? Like maybe they saw me in something, which is a total reversal, right? For a fan to have like the actors say, "Hey, what did I see you in?" Right? But number one, like they were the director had finished giving notes, which means they're about to do the shot, right? So I didn't want to like make a big thing of it, and I'm new and stuff, but also I'm a security guard, and clearly they kind of recognized me, and I thought that was fun. So um, I'm like, I'm gonna let you guys think about it and guess, because the shot's starting, and then they're like, okay, ready, and so I'm back doing the thing. Soon as he said cut, Anthony pops up. He's like, okay, tell me. I can't figure it out. And I came up to the railing, and I'm like, I'm a security guard here at Paramount. Like I'm at gates and different things. And they're like, oh yeah. And like it's different when I different uniform and all that. And they're yep. And so like yeah, I was outed as a security guard pretty fast. So I can only imagine that like a very fun loving, cool, connected with each other group of people might kind of look sideways at me like I might be the narc,
Yeah.
you know? Um and I mean, to some degree that's fair, I guess, because I did have an interest in that direction, but like uh uh you know, it happened, and I had fun on the show, and I think we all got to know each other better over time. Um and I have a lot of great memories working with Connor and Dominic. And yeah, Dominic showed me how to use one of those little nose blotter thingies once, because there was a close up and my nose was shiny, and it's a little
Oh,
I didn't know how to
that's
use it.
funny.
It's like, "Here, mate, let me show you."
Oh gosh. I'm
Um,
wondering.
Connor told me all about his honeymoon in the south of
Mhm.
France. That was fun.
I'm
Yeah,
wondering,
so it worked out.
were you ever on set, and I probably shouldn't even bring this up, but were you ever on set when John would sing his little song? John Billingsley, he had a little, um he works 1 day a week and the paychecks still come, or something.
Oh, that.
Yes.
Um,
I just
I
curious.
don't I was. I don't know that I
Yeah.
was, but honestly, like I might have been, but I might not have been on the set. But here's the other thing. I was thinking about this. Um, he and I had a good rapport, but I don't know that I ever did any scenes with him because most of my stuff was bridge, engineering, armory, and then like various hallways. Didn't really get into the med bay except when I was hurt. Um, and that happened, I know for sure in one episode, but like I'm laid out, like I'm not interacting
Yeah.
with anything or anybody. Uh, and one time I hand doubled him for a close up shot. They like airbrushed the spots, and that was his hand in a thing. I can't remember what episode that is. I got to do like a full watch through, but 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 apart from that, like we had a good rapport. I mean, like I went to his house when he was launching Hollywood Food Coalition like years ago with my wife. He was there, and a lot of people I didn't know, but like met his wife Bonnie, and like we heard all about the charity, which is awesome. And oh, shameless plug, Hollywood Food Coalition, great charity. Go to Trek Talks and check that out. And But yeah, I didn't have a lot of scenes, so probably he would have more likely sung that like in sick bay or someplace like that. So yeah,
Or
unfortunately,
walking to
probably
his trailer when Connor, or not Connor, Dominic and them were coming by, and yeah, that was so
right,
fun.
right. Just to mess with
Just a mess.
people. Yeah.
Well, I've got about 3 more pictures I do wanna talk
Ooh,
about,
okay.
sort of, because I as soon as I bring these 2 of these up, the people in the I'm sorry, in the live chat and or the comments might be like, "Why'd you show those?" Hold on.
Oh, oh dear.
Well,
What did I
oh,
do?
you, sir, didn't do anything, but
Oh, okay. Oh. Oh, wait, would they be mad because of the whole thing about
yes.
sort of preempting the finale by making
Yeah.
it yeah. Yeah, I understand. I completely understand that as a fan.
Yeah.
But also, guess who I got to meet on the last day of
Yeah,
shooting?
look at that right there.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
Lovely, lovely. Marina was a lovely
Mm,
person, and I mean, I didn't have like scenes with her, but again, it was a day where everybody was hanging out with everybody, and before and after shooting, we were just like, hey, let's take a picture, pal around. And by the way, I must apologize for the cropping here, or at least the framing in because digital cameras had not advanced to the point where they were really practical for good pictures yet in 2005. So these are all film shots that have been scanned. Yeah, and I need to rescan a bunch of them because I think it was not current era scanning when I scanned them.
here's the other one.
And I know the other one now.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do it. But
Yes.
again,
Yes. The esteemed
hello.
Mr. Jonathan. Yeah. 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 Again, great guy. By the way, here's how great he is. Uh I attempted, because he was very jovial, like he was clearly very happy to be back on a Star Trek set, right? Because I've seen a lot of interviews with Frakes. I watched the Seventh Rule one actually, where he came on, um, and he's just a great guy. And I still know people who work with him. By all accounts, amazing, and he's been everywhere. He's not just an actor; he's directed and he's written all the things, right? And always very generous by all accounts. And yet somehow in my stupid youthful enthusiasm, I saw him palling with people. And I remember during the day, it was still daylight. He was in his Mako uniform for that scene. And I went up to like, I made some joke. I don't even remember what the joke was now, or I something, but it was just him and me, and I made the joke. And all I remember was his facial expression. It was like, he like looked at me and then he was like, and then he turned and walked away. I'm like, oh crap, I just offended Jonathan Frakes, man. And I was trying to like, yeah. But the shot you just showed was from the end of the day. And so I again don't remember exactly what transpired because 20 years, you know. But but clearly everything was cool by the end of the day. I probably said, "Hey, sorry about I didn't mean to,
Whatever.
offend you
Yeah.
or whatever." We had probably he was like, "Oh, I was just messing with you or whatever," and then smiley
Oh,
shot.
yeah.
So
Well,
yeah, man.
I've
Yeah.
never met him. I'm looking forward to meeting him in Chicago at in end of the
Yeah.
year. He looks like just the biggest, funnest person on the planet out there, and
Yeah.
it's interesting that we're talking today because this last picture I'm gonna show has been circulating on the internet today. Um,
Yes, I might have had something to do with that a little bit. Yes, I knew which one it was going to be. Um, yeah, cast and crew, man. Uh, this is something. Did you spot me?
I thought you're over here somewhere, but I could be wrong on the right-hand side.
So far right, I'm in the dark blue jacket with the white Paramount thing. You can't tell it's Paramount from here, but it's a white chest patch, but standing up between two other guys who I'm not
Yeah,
sure
I
who they
think it's
are.
that
You need to
right
check with
there
them.
probably. But I can zoom in when we do
Yeah,
the editing. We'll zoom in.
all good, all
Bet.
good. Couple pieces of trivia about this shot, by the way.
Okay.
Scott wasn't available, so he's photoshopped, as was Mary Howard, right next to him.
Really?
Yep. Good job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing that is really special about this shot is I don't know if you've heard about the first AD, Jerry Fleck, who tragically passed away. Um, I believe, I don't want to misspeak, but I think that, um, well, he had a condition and passed away suddenly way before his time. Um, so he couldn't, of course, be in the shot, but he is. He's in the top of the building on the right at a window looking down
Oh, wow.
above the tree.
Yep. You can
Yeah,
kinda see it right
Jerry
there.
Fleck.
I can kinda see it right there.
Yeah. Everybody loved Jerry, and I went to his funeral. I was able to go to his funeral, and that was like more Star Trek people than you could shake a stick at. Everybody, because he'd been working, I think, since TNG. Like he was one of those guys that had been there forever. Um, yeah, it was a big loss. It was a big loss. You can tell a lot about people. I've learned, having done security and background. You can tell a lot about a person by how they treat someone who they don't have to treat nicely, right? The people who do the schlep jobs. Um, Morgan Freeman, I'd take a bullet for that guy, uh, because he was always just very nice and just normal guy. For instance, um, you know, Frakes, I'd put up there. Scott Bakula, obviously, like everybody really in that whole show was. Jerry Fleck went out of his way to be generous and nice to background people, and everyone really. So yeah. Anyway, rest in peace, Jerry Fleck.
Wow. Well, I'm gonna ask you first off, I have enjoyed this has been a great talk. I have enjoyed your stories and getting to hear everything. And I see when we were preparing, you're like, we could go for 3 hours. And I'm like, I see why. I see why. I'm not going to. But I do want to ask
Right.
you the one question that I ask everybody at the end.
I'm ready.
It is, what piece of Star Trek technology do you wish existed today?
Mm, yes, I knew you were going to ask this, so I have given this some thought, and let me tell you, it was hard for me to do. I can't pick the obvious ones. I'm not even going to say them. Everybody says those. Um, and what was actually hard for me is that, like, I like the punchy kicky stuff. One of the things we didn't get into that is on the Portal 47 interview is that I was really into volunteering for stunts, and they started using me in the place of stuntmen on rare occasions, when it wasn't in violation of like SAG. Loved every minute of it. So my mind immediately went to, um, the Klingon disruptor pistol that Christopher Lloyd used as Captain Krug in Star Trek 3. Just that made an impression on me when I saw it as a kid, and always loved that. But that's kind of, yeah, not the right direction for wanting really good tech. Love the Bird of Prey too, by the way. Probably my favorite ship ever. And that's saying a lot. But I think I know what I would really, really want, really, when it comes down to it. 24th century, at least, medical tricorder.
Yep. That'd be awesome to have.
That would change healthcare forever and always. Because, I mean, just like little diagnoses for tiny things, easy, you know? And if we had those in a home, and everybody had one in their home, like it would save so many doctor trips. And so I mean, yeah, medical order, man, that's my answer.
That's a great one. That's an excellent answer
Thank you.
because yeah, we could talk on that forever too. But I agree. That
Yeah,
is
we could go full politics on that one.
yeah,
But yeah.
yeah. I do everything I can to stay away from the politics, but
Yes,
as much
yes,
as
yes.
possible.
Another time maybe, but
Man,
yeah.
I will. I'm gonna say this. I definitely feel like we will need to have a round two at some point
Ooh,
because
hey,
yeah,
I'm having fun too.
because I
Thanks
would
for having
like
me
to
on this.
talk
I
about
really
like again,
right.
like the stunts and more stuff that you like. I knew some of the stories you talked about. And we yeah, there's one more, but yeah, when you were on set and everything, yeah. But we will definitely have a round two on this.
I'm looking
Yeah,
forward
I'm
to
looking
it.
forward to as
Thank you.
well. I, yeah, man, this was Duncan. This was fun. I mean, I've enjoyed all my interviews, but this one I just love the perspective from somebody who was behind the scenes, and like we said at the very beginning, who unfortunately not this cast, but other casts in the places they're like, it's just a background person, whatever. But and you can see everything, and just they don't mind you or anything. But man, oh yeah, this will be fun. Um,
Yeah, ditto, man. I'm looking forward to it. Can I say two things real quick?
Absolutely.
Um, Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, pancan.org. Please check that out. It's a worthy charity that I know a lot of Star Trek people support, and I want to add my voice to that, along with Hollywood Food Coalition. Letterdex, please check us out, and on Instagram and Facebook, and we'll be on letterdex.com in 2 seconds. I just bought it yesterday. So landing page will be up by the time this publishes on YouTube, I think.
Yes.
Um, and and the other thing is, I also thought about what episode I like the best, and I think that's something you ask of fans. But I'm a fan too, so I had that like locked and loaded. And just like as a preview to our round two, season 4, episode 4, Borderland, where the augments are introduced, and where Brent Spiner first is seen as the Dr. Soong who made the augments. Talk about the intro for that episode, the freaking martial arts those guys did. And this was before the internet, before everything got spoiled ahead of time, right? And being a martial arts aficionado up to that point, I'd been doing it for a long time. And those guys just busted out. I was like, oh, they just beat up like a bunch of Klingons with their fists. That's awesome. And that guy freaking did like a capoeira, flippy kick over some disruptor fire. Hell yeah. Um, and I got to do one of my coolest stunts on that particular episode as well. Australian slide in engineering down the railings, and that got beamed away onto the
That
Orion
was
ship.
you?
That was me.
Okay.
Yeah, brother.
We're definitely getting back
Hmm.
to this again. All right. Duncan, thank you. And we will
My
definitely
pleasure.
have a round two. I will talk to you later. You have a
Awesome.
good evening, sir.
Okay. Thank you. You
Bye.
too. Take care.
Thank you for watching The Transporter Room. For just $5 per month, enjoy ad-free access to this episode and all previous ones, plus exclusive bonus content. Sign up now on Patreon.